AI to be used that way, and whether laws will allow those people to opt out of such training, and whether the law will see these works as protected from the training of AI, which is something that has become such a major concern and a major topic of conversation. All that only time will tell. But right now, this is what's going on right now with NVIDIA. And while when it comes to AI, the law is murky and gray and not fully defined and still catching up, when it comes to the act of piracy, like, that's been established. And if what these reports are saying is true, if what the lawsuit is presenting is true, with NVIDIA not denying some of these claims, then NVIDIA full-on engaged in piracy to train AI. And if that is true, then NVIDIA would have broken the law. And I'd be very curious to see if that will lead to some significant consequences. Though corporations usually tend to get away with a lot. But yeah, this is kind of what you need to know. And in the meantime, I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on this whole NVIDIA pirating situation. Do you think NVIDIA is in the right in what they did? Are they legally safe? Or do you think NVIDIA legally fucked up and we're not in the right to use things like Anna's archive? And, what do you think about their argument that what they've done is just use other people's work as fair use, or, in a way that falls under the fair use doctrine? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.
We feel as though Monjur knows us and we're confident that you're there to help us. It's easier for our clients. It's easier for us. So you've actually freed up a lot of our time.
Wow, we're really hot. Need captions? Canva and captions for you.
We don't.
That's hot.
We don't.
That's really hot. Try Canva video today.
This is Buick now. Buick, exceptional by design. Get 0.9% APR on these Buick models. Plus, current eligible non-GM owners get up to $3,000 allowance on onboard GX.
So today I want to discuss an ongoing relationship between OpenAI, NVIDIA, and Oracle, and the way that relationship is becoming financially untenable as OpenAI continues to burn through money in order to realize their AI ambitions, which is costing a lot more money than it's able to make. I've discussed in previous videos about how journalists, analysts, as well as investors are all basically saying OpenAI is really screwed looking at their current financial numbers. Talking about when you look at how much money they're spending, it's growing at a more rapid pace than originally anticipated. And the amount of money that is being intaken, the amount of revenue, is just nowhere near enough to make up for the amount of money that OpenAI is losing, which is why folks who are kind of keeping track of OpenAI's activities are all coming out and saying that OpenAI will run out of money, and in the not so distant future, potentially could run out of cash by mid-2027. There's also the fact that it's not just expensive to build data centers for AI, but also to maintain them due to how much power they consume. So, we're talking about an infrastructure that could cost up to $500 billion in annual spending. We're talking about 100 gigawatts of power that is needed for AI by 2030 for just the US alone, maybe 200 gigawatts for the entire world. Prominent investor George Noble just straight up broke down why OpenAI is falling apart in real time. Down all the numbers and the amount of money that is going out and how much more that is compared to the amount of money coming in. And so the way OpenAI is staying afloat is basically by seeking investment from outside parties. Microsoft is among the most prominent companies who's invested billions in OpenAI. Companies like Amazon have also recently talked about potentially investing up to $50 billion in OpenAI. That's just to name a few, but among the closest partnerships that OpenAI has is with none other than GPU and chip maker NVIDIA. I discussed in a previous video how back in September of 2025, it was announced that there were plans for NVIDIA to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI. That deal was supposed to close in a couple of weeks, but we heard nothing about it until recently, January 30th, 2026, when NVIDIA suddenly backpedaled on that plan and they're not going to invest $100 billion in OpenAI. NVIDIA suddenly got cold feet, and apparently part of the reason had
All right, so Shelby.
Buddy, time to go right to the horror game.
Privilege typically insulates from
And they're not going to want more from you if you're presenting yourself in a transactional way. I don't know how many men I have bumped into that lead with their wallet to get a woman. You can use conversation, but not be an ass. You can use personality, but not be an ass. You don't have to lead with your wallet. You can also lead with integrity. I love it.
Enjoy 24-hour access at most Planet Fitness clubs. $1 down, $15 a month. Deal ends February 22nd.
I first discovered my love for music when I was about 10 years old. I fell in love with songwriting. That's when everything changed for me.
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know if your boss has feelings for you. Going by your cards, it shows that they do seem to be holding some fondness that is bordering on very strong feelings, but they are actively trying to suppress it because of the nature of having feelings on the job. They do see potential with you, as in a future with you, but it hinges solely on one or both of you relocating away from the current employment situation. So if you'd like further details on what exactly the future holds for two of you, what options you may have to pursue this if you wish, as well as other concerns that might come up between the two of you, as well as compatibility ratings, give me a call or send me a message.
Intentionally an asshole. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the men that are truly themselves and they don't waver in who they are and they kind of come across as like a little bit of an ass. But it's them genuinely being themselves. I actually like that. It's very attractive. Very attractive. Reading, you could lead with what books have you read within the last month or so? I mean, there are other things. What documentary have you watched?
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you stated that your love life is stagnant and confusing, and you want to know what the future for your love life looks like. Going by your cards, it is indicating that you have had a funk when it comes to your love life, indicated from the Page of Wands being in the primary position. For the second card, Three of Swords being reversed shows that along with the disappointments, you haven't really been able to move yourself past all the stuff that's happened so far. So what that means is you're letting the setbacks and disappointing situations with your love life compound onto each other, which is going to ultimately make things a lot more burdensome for you. As far as your future, Seven of Swords being in reverse, It's mainly serving as a warning for what's going to be upcoming. This is signaling that you need to try to exercise control and not get involved in very enticing situations, but ones that could easily get you in a lot of trouble. So for me, what I'm seeing is you will have an opportunity to get involved with someone, but it seems like they will already have a partner or some other prior engagement, but it will be very tempting for you to proceed and progress the connection with them. This would be highly unadvisable for the problems that would come with that. If you want details on what other opportunities will come up in the future, as well as what best options you have to have a successful love life, give me a call or send me a message. Hello, this is Shanoa. Hey, how are you? I feel like I've seen you before. Or you've at least dipped in before.
Was because red pill is hypergamy, pink pill is hypergamy. Red pill and pink pill
Do you give a
are
general
like
card?
mirroring each
Yeah.
other, they're parallel, they're side by side.
Was
right?
there something specific
I warned
you wanted to
I
know
warned the girls. I said,
in general, or
"Ooh, you all are using pink pill to do sex
like a specific area, or
That was stupid.
yeah, sure. I could do general for
That was very dumb.
3 credits.
And this is why I'm out there dating, because I'm like, if another man asks me, will you be my sugar baby? I'm 30. I'm not a baby. I'm not gonna act like one either. That's weird. So, and women want to say that they didn't have a hand in how the dating thing ended up, but you did though. You did. You don't even want to take accountability for that. Men don't want to
No
take
credit right now?
accountability, and women don't.
That's okay.
I said it was the
Just
worst
come back later.
thing ever to combine and mix pink pill with sex work. Pink pill was supposed to be about hypergamy. Red pill was supposed to be about hypergamy, right? So hypergamy is when you're born into a lifestyle
You're welcome.
and you either try to achieve the same lifestyle or better, right? By working on yourself, self-improvement, self-accountability. That's what it was about. Self-improvement and self-accountability. That's what it was truly about. The girls took it and turned it into sex work. So now a lot of women are mad, like, oh, men are not romantic, they're not this and not that. But I'm like, you literally took the pink pill and you did sex work with it. And pink pill was never meant for sex work. There's sex work, and then there's pink pill. And then when it comes to men, right, there was red pill, and then there was you wanting to be a player. So men, modern men and women have to hold this L. You have destroyed the dating scene. And a lot of women like to lean into this, oh, no, men are just mad because we have a voice and we're speaking our minds. No, you actually fucking played yourself. I'm going to call it what it is. You played yourself. You blended in that sex work with the pink pill, And now it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman when it comes to dating today. It's a transaction. It's all about what can the other person get out of the other person. That's all it is. That's all dating is now. It's like they're not, and then people are no longer wanting to do the whole let's get to know each other. Why? It's all about what can you do for me, and what can I do for you? That's it. It's just a full blown transaction. Men want sex, women want money. No emotional connection at all. So why would men do romance? Why would they do dinner dates? Like, women are delusional just like some of these men. Women are just as delusional. I'm like, why would a man do all of that when they know you just want money in exchange for sex? Why would they go through all of the hoops to do all of that when they know that that's the type of time that you're on? So it amazes me when you have an unhealed man like this, unhealed women complaining online about dating and everything, but it's like you're gonna have to look at yourself because the dating scene took participation. That's what it took. And if you participated in it, if you was out here playing games and running games on people, you played a role in that. That's accountability. He needs to take accountability because he was out here showing interest in women that he knew he didn't want to be with. He just wanted to have sex with. That's it. And then you have women out here that were pretending to show interest when all they wanted was money or materials. Dinner, just a travel experience, just a bag, just shoes, just this, just that. And so now men don't see the point in putting in any effort in payment. And sometimes that payment isn't a dinner out. Sometimes that payment isn't a trip. So listen, it is what it is. And remember what I was telling y'all? I was like, the girls are on Instagram escorting. And y'all were like, Yanni, you're a hater. You a hater. You not know how many girls have approached me to escort? Women have been approaching me to escort since I was 18. So I kind of think I know what it looks like.
16.
And now it's coming out that the girls are escorting their yacht days. And it's like, girl, you was being delusional, baby. You was being delusional. You were being nice. People were so shocked by Sweetie. I'm like, I'm not. You just thought the girls just had it like that? Oh my, Carisha was another one. I'm like, y'all are crazy. Y'all, oh my God. I like, y'all remember that era? Do y'all not remember that era of social media where the people are like, oh no, like, you know, she's dating him, getting his money, and then she entertaining other guys. I'm like, are y'all okay? Because that is not what is going on. When you set yourself up to be a transaction for a man, he wants control. Those are truly the type of men that sign up. They're like, let me sign up for a transaction because they can control you. That's the whole point. It's not just sex, it's like the whole experience. Their entire fantasy has to be met. And part of that is control, submission, warmth, on demand, when I want it. The girls are being very, very delusional. Very delusional, but I'm glad it's 2026. Everything is coming full circle. The damage has been done. And this Valentine's Day, I think it was the worst Valentine's Day I have ever seen in my life. Not for me, but for others. Not for me, but for others. The men were like, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I know all you want is money. So why would they do the roses and all of that? Why? They know you just want something in your bank account. So they're just cutting.
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know if you will find out how Jeremiah really feels about you on the trip tomorrow. and if it will be in your favor. Going by your cards, it already is showing favorability by the Chariot, showing a lot of energy, transit, and seeing new sights. As for how he feels, it's going to be represented by the second and third card. Ten of Pentacles being in reverse, as well as the King of Wands being reversed, shows that while he does seem to harbor very strong feelings for you, there is a blockage in the way. So what this means for you is that there will be something very important that you would have to communicate to him to really get him over the line where he feels like he can really build something with you. The foundation is already there, but I believe that both of you will end up having a very good talk during this trip, which will cement things. If you'd like further information about how compatible the two of you are, as well as what the future holds for the both of you for the rest of this year, give me a call or send me a message. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you mainly want to know when Michael is going to contact you again. You've stated that he seems to be feeling that the grass isn't greener with Jasmine, and that he's really adding a lot of girls interacting with him, but he seems dissatisfied. A lot of what you're already feeling is already backed up by the cards that you got. The primary card of the Hermit shows someone who is insulated and feels like he can't really go any further than he already has in life. The second card, Two of Pentacles, represents someone trying to juggle multiple things, trying to find a balance, trying to find what works for them, which would represent him trying to talk to all these different girls right now. The final card, Four of Wands, with it being reversed, it shows that he's definitely not satisfied with the way things are, which it also signals a prompt exit from what he's currently doing and to shift into something new. So going off of that, I would assume that he's going to contact you in less than a week, most likely 4 days from now. If you'd like further details on what to expect from Michael, what other things are on his mind regarding you, as well as both of your compatibilities, give me a call or send me a message.
But your talent when it comes to approaching, and it is, and you know what? Men don't know how to approach it.
What?
Your favorite browser just got better again. Meet the latest updates to Gemini and Chrome, like a new side panel for more browsing and less toggling. Recall the sites you visited and chats you had. And get simple, personally relevant answers to your complex questions. Work with other Google apps like Gmail from the side panel. It's like that. Without switching tabs. Make progress on your plans with Auto Browse to assist you with routine tasks that normally slow you down. From finding and applying discount codes to adding items to your cart, Gemini and Chrome can handle it, keeping you in the loop. With security protections in place on the browser you trust. Keep track of new updates from Chrome.
It all comes down to this run for Red Gerard.
So much style on this run.
Lord said need to be mad that the Black Power Ranger was disrespecting him by fighting with that hairline. No, I'm not gonna let it go. I'm not gonna let it. You know how many nights I spent crying because of the way that hairline looks? You know what I mean? And you know what it felt like going to a predominantly white institution, knowing all of my classmates was going to go home and see London bridges falling down? Come on. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. And don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week, where we explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Now, there I was trying to figure out how MAGA was going to justify offering refugee status to Venezuelans. America first. If it wasn't America first now, was it America first before? How y'all gonna do that? Oh, that is fascinating. Yeah, and good luck making sense of the logic of the whole thing.
In a stunning late-night operation, I had some friends of mine execute a raid on my neighbor Tom's house. They put up quite a fight, but we got through, and he's in custody. I haven't liked what he's been doing over there for a while now, so I've decided to run his house myself. He leaves his Christmas lights up too long. He never trims his avocado tree that hangs over my fence, and I believe he's running fentanyl out of there. I can't prove the last one, but it makes sense. I've seen him speak Spanish. I got rid of the wife as well. I didn't really have a problem with her, but we did do a 4th of July block party, and she brought empanadas, so better safe than sorry. I've got them at a Residence Inn a couple towns over. I've been using his home as my own little man cave. Pretty great. Turns out he has a fantastic wine cellar that I have tapped into extensively. Anyway, I'll be running his home until a time when I can have a safe, proper, and judicious turnover to some other guy, which probably won't be happening soon. And just a heads up, I plan to take over some other neighbors' homes as well. Phil, across the street, has a pretty cool car I'd like to be in charge of. And Alex, who lives catty corner from me, has a wife who's a yoga instructor. Be taking that one soon. Again, doing it for the good of the neighborhood, so stay tuned.
Well, I was definitely not prepared for where the rabbit hole took me.
So apparently there was a white supremacist dating site.
X? Is it X? Is it X?
But Dad, where did you get it?
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You all right?
Is that? No, okay, I'll let you finish.
So apparently there was a white supremacist dating site, and it got infiltrated by an old school anarchist researcher. And this person who infiltrated goes by the name Martha Root. She spent the last couple of months collecting all the data of a bunch of the members that are now public. And she did it by using AI to make these people fall in love with robots.
She used AI for the white. So AI know how to woo and white supremacy. That's impressive. That's it. I seen AI boxing, and I seen
AI
running.
boxing?
I didn't know AI could kick game at white supremacy. That's, you know, who knew?
They created a leak site called okstupid.lol.
Those times.
All right. We cooking. We cooking. Put some Lowry's on there.
Where you can see all the details of all the people who had profiles on White Date.
I'm sorry. Did you say it was called White Date? It's called White Date. That's creative. That's why y'all didn't go with White Party. You know why they didn't go with White Party. You know exactly why they didn't go with White. That man likely to show up with 6 truckloads of baby oil. That ain't what they want.
The bots were so convincing, they bypassed the verification process and were even verified as white. Martha Root then dressed like a pink Power Ranger to protect her identity and went on stage at CCC, the Chaos Communications Conference in Germany that happens every year around the holidays.
The pink Power Ranger? I knew the pink Power Ranger was real. You know, I knew the pink Power Ranger was real. Definitely realer than that Black Ranger. You saw what his hairline looked like.
What did Martha Root do while dressed as a pink Power Ranger on stage at CCC? Ran a bunch of scripts, deleting the whole website. The audience erupted in applause when each of these steps Mark done. Change the admin mail password, log into hosting it, delete whitechild.net, whitevio.net, whitedateb server, deleted everything, deleted their backups. This went on for a few minutes. So Martha Root, his Power Ranger, spent months, made a bunch of white supremacists fall in love with AI chatbots, was so convincing that infiltrated and got data about so many of them, built a website to leak it all called okstupid.lol, and then nuked their entire everything from orbit. This might be one of the most legendary things to happen in hacker culture in a very long time.
I would put it up there with LimeWire and Kazaa. I would put it up with LimeWire and Kazaa. And matter of fact, I would put it above those because this one didn't cost me my family computer. You know, those cost me untold family computers. This one didn't cost me nothing. So shout out to her. There's good trouble and there's great trouble, and then there's Martha. Remind me to never cross this woman's path. She built a dating website for white supremacists and used chatbots to get them to admit their darkest secrets, then posted it all. And like many of you, I had this exact response. Now do Epstein. Do it. Martha, can we Epstein? Literally anything about what we got going on here would be great. She didn't build it. That was a different, rather evil woman trying to build a network of white supremacists. Megyn Kelly? Was it Megyn Kelly? Did she know how to code? Does she know how to code? She can't even coordinate her foundation. You see what? Come on, man. Come on now, dog. Come on, man. Martha took control of it after using a chatbot to get information from thousands of its users, closed it, and deleted it live on stage, dressed as a pink Power Ranger. And here you see her flossing said costume.
Von der letzten Bundestagswahl habe ich Netzwerk gescraped. Verkaufe ich den Ökosystem. Links, Knotenpunkte.
You know Laura Zed was furious. All that time Laura Zed spent spent working on the white supremacist website, and then the Pink Power Ranger did it by herself? That's crazy. That is wild. Lord said neither be mad that the Black Power Ranger was disrespecting him by fighting with that hairline. No, I'm not gonna let it go. I'm not gonna. You know how many nights I spent crying because of the way that hairline looked? You know what I mean? And you know what it felt like going to a predominantly white institution, knowing all of my classmates was going to go home and see London bridges falling down? Come on.
What were you looking at when you was cutting it? Like, was you trying to just go like in a half moon? Like, what was the whole game plan from the beginning? Because you can tell where the edge of it's supposed to be. Like that third line, that third wrinkle in his head from the bottom. That's where that hairline's supposed to begin at, man. Like, whoever, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they was trying to repair this boy or damage, but yo.
That's why he be dancing all the time. That's why he was always there. Because you thought he was shucking and jiving. No, he was just trying to keep his hairline moving. You know what I mean? So you couldn't get a good, you couldn't put no ruler on it or nothing. Can't touch this. And here's the moment it all went down. Now, I want to shout out to everybody that was at the Chaos Conference. And I'll be honest, if you ask me about the response that the Chaos Conference would have to something like this, 50-50. 50 minutes, I would have thought it would have been some overlap. But no, hey, I didn't know your game. Chaos Conference, I wasn't familiar with your game. I wasn't familiar with your game. I will let y'all cook. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering what I am, which is where these people came from. Well, here you have a map of member clusters of White Date. Well, what you...
No. What, honey?
No, you never ever.
And I think when women hear the word submission, they sort of recoil. They have a really negative idea, a negative connotation with submission. I guess we have to define like what submission even means. Submission means probably something different for everybody, but something that I probably need to ask myself. Because I say I want a submissive woman, but what do I mean? What do I mean by that? Because submission is really, if you think about it, it is in a sense a loss of identity. For every act of submission, that party tends to lose their acquiescing, right? They're putting aside their own sort of wants or needs if they conflict with what's being asked of them or what's being told to them. Now, first and foremost, I think all submission should be, voluntary, right? All submission is voluntary. I mean, really, if you think about it.
What?
It's all your choice at the end of the day. whether somebody is telling you to do something or somebody is asking you to do something, you have a choice whether you say yes and do it or whether you say no. Now, obviously, that choice it's easier said than done, right? To make that choice. But I think submission, whether it's by a man or a woman, because there's a lot of these women who have these men submitted out there. Let's be honest. That's mainly what modern relationships are. But submission should always be, you ask the other person, right? It's their prerogative if they don't want to do it. Right? It's their choice if they don't want to do it, and you can't hold anything against them if they don't want to do it. Yeah, you can. I wouldn't resent them. I wouldn't hold a grudge. I wouldn't take offense, right? If you don't take offense, you don't take it personally. But I think what you can do is you can voice like how you wanted it done, right? You prefer that they would have done it if they say no. If you tell them to do something, ask them to do something, ask them, right? We're not telling you. I would never tell a woman to do something. I would always ask her. And if she says no, that's her choice. And either I'm going to be okay with that, right? I'm going to be like, okay.
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know if your ex and you will have a talk about whether you're going to get back together or staying apart. Going by your cards, it does seem like there will be a talk in the work very soon, indicated by Wheel of Fortune. It does seem favorable, but there will be some difficulties, indicated mainly by the middle card, Ten of Wands. It does show that there's a lot of burdens between the two of you, a lot of baggage, a lot of stressors that both of you will need to hash out before things can proceed. Going by the last card, Three of Swords in reverse, it signals that one of you won't really be able to make amends or let bygones be bygones and start fresh. But that is just the current reading on the situation. There is opportunity for this to change depending on how the talks go with this new information being given to you. Now, if you want to know the specifics of what it would take for these talks to succeed, as well as the compatibility rating between you and this person, give me a call or send me a message.
She has to, right? Culturally, all of history, I feel like there was a lot of submission that women were under where it was more oppressive. Like they felt like they had to. They felt like, there was a lot of cultural pressure, religious pressure, just a lot of stigma about a woman who refuses to do what a man tells her to do, or refuses to be what a man thinks she should be. And so I'm not talking about a submission like that, like one where you're doing it, and you have spite about it, you have resentment, you have contempt for who you're submitting to, and you're just doing it because out of fear, right? You're submitting out of fear. You're submitting out of I don't know. Usually it's just fear, right? It's just fear. Fear of, I don't know. usually that's never good. Usually, I think a healthy submission from women, and why they have such a problem with it, maybe modern women just have such a problem with submission, is the way that they think about it, or the way that men talk about it. What is sort of what is a healthy submission? Does a woman want to have her identity, right? Does she want to make her own choices and make her own decisions and have her own, structure her own life and have her own, space and her own rules and, all that? If that's what she wants, and it seems like this is what a lot of women want nowadays. A lot of these women want to have their own spaces and make their own decisions, make their own money. They want this sort of freedom, this autonomy that they've been deprived of for all of human history. I get that, right? I get that. But what does this come at the cost of? I mean, I guess we have to ask ourselves this. Is this sort of depriving them of the ability to fall in love with a man? I don't know. It's worth asking though. It's worth asking because how do relationships work if there isn't some sort of hierarchy in a way, or there's one person that's more dominant than the other, right? And then how do you stop that dominance from completely wiping the other person out, like making them an absolute slave, submitting even more? Because it tends, in relationships, it tends to be this sort of gradual thing. There's where the relationship starts, but that's not where the relationship ends, right? That's not where it progresses. That's not where it will be in 6 months or a year or 3 years or 5 years. Everything is very slow, right? And there seems to be in all relationships this constant power struggle, this constant maneuvering, jockeying for position, for power. And yes, they do it, men and women do it in different ways, but it is constant and it's ongoing. It's like think about borders to a country, right? You have your borders, which are your boundaries, which are the things that you will not tolerate. You can't go over this line. This is I'm set on this, right? This is part of my identity. I will not sacrifice my identity for this relationship or for love or for you. This line you cannot cross, right? Sort of thing. And all relationships seem to be this sort of moving of the boundary. You're trying to progress. You're trying to expand your identity, or expand your empire, or expand your control into the other person's space or into the other person's territory. You're trying to break down their barriers, break down their boundaries. And yeah, I get it. I get why. Because men tend to think of love. We tend to think of love from a woman. We imagine love from a woman as like they're completely in awe and admiration of us. We don't want women to submit to us out of fear. We want women to submit out of a genuine desire, a love. They are in complete admiration and awe, respect of us. They do it out of respect, right? That's what we want. I guess that's the way that we want things to be structured. Like we want a woman to feel like that about us, right? Not just any women, and we often want, a very attractive woman, a woman that maybe might be a little out of our league, or, a woman that, somebody that we see as kind of the prize. You want this woman who's kind of, wow, like she's spectacular. But then you also want to make that, that initial sort of, wow, she's spectacular. You're looking at her, you're like, wow, if I could only make her, so you're putting her up, right? She's on this pedestal. You're like, wow, oh my God, look at her. She's a knockout. Look at how she's talking, like she's super interesting, all this stuff, right? It seems like she's above you, and then what you want to do is you want to put her beneath. You want to say, I want to make her mine. I want to own her. want her to be completely in awe of me. I want to, and I want her to do things for me and be like obsessed with doing things for me and stuff like this. And this is sort of this idea that I have of relationships in my head. But the thing is, like, this does come at a cost. It comes at a cost. For every sort of, for the more that they're devoted to you, the more that they are focused on you, the more that they are in love with you or put you on a pedestal higher than themselves, I think by definition, that is a sacrifice of their own wants and needs and desires and identity. Now, I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing. If a woman wants to do this, if it's what she, would she rather be, I guess, maybe I have this idea of, would a woman rather be in love with a man and respect a man and follow a man and have him lead her in a way where she says, this is what I want, right? It's not a thing where you're like, oh, this guy's stupid. Like, he's stupid. Look at what he's doing. Oh my God, he's a fool. I can't believe that he's doing this. And you're just like, you're submitted to him. And you're like, you don't even want to really do the things that he's telling you, and you don't see the point. And you're just like, you make your own money, and you have your own social group and stuff. You have your own activities, and you're living your own life. And then you kind of see how that's, all those things actually make it harder. So what are you going to do? You're going to go now submit all your, because what a man wants you to do, what he tells you to do is, you're going to have to sacrifice your own sort of stuff. You might have to work less or not work at all, or not see your friends as much, or start to cook more and not eat out and all this stuff. Maybe.
Dayquil Intense Flu, the daytime coughing, aching fever under your flu medicine.
How's that flu?
I got this. I don't got this.
You need Dayquil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. You do got this.
My dad took out a personal loan to help support 3 children in a ski career. Without Mariners, he might not have been able to give me the opportunities that I needed to make those dreams happen. The fact that Mariner was able to provide that for my family, it's really special for me.
Shipt same-day delivery is your partner in garden blow-ups. Whether you're starting fresh or giving your green thumb another shot, order all the supplies you need with same-day delivery. Try it today at shipt.com.
Ma'am, hi, my name's RJ Decker. I'm a private investigator. I'd like to ask you a few questions about what happened yesterday.
RJ freaking Decker, as I live and breathe. Detective Gray, hello, how are you?
How is everything at the trailer park? You making new friends?
Hey, Tebow, how you doing? Could be a hot one today. Stay hydrated.
Every single day. You here to offer me another job?
Maybe we dive in together and find something that connects.
It's not a standard murder, it's something bigger. I think it was a murder for hire, but why?
You want me to flex a little muscle? Find out what the DA's office has? Try to get some better prison
Roll over some of your wrists. I got a couple. Are you serious?
This new career you picked, you stick with it. You're going to see ugly stuff.
I'll stick with it. Maybe some of the ugly stuff doesn't happen.
What happened to your eye?
It's complicated.
What's up, Marsh? Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? Doing good.
You and this place, you were made for each other.
What do you mean, bar?
No, Florida.
Or he's just okay with you being, your own person. Maybe that's what men have to. Is that what we have to get to the point of doing? Is just letting women be their own boss ladies, own independent, autonomous, all this stuff. You can do everything yourself. Okay, but is it possible to live that sort of life and still be willing to? Can you be in a relationship like that? Where both men and women are sort of the same in the material sense, right? We're both breadwinners. We're both career oriented. We both have our hobbies and our interests and our desires and our social groups, and we both have firm identities, right? We both have firm identities, and this is what women are nowadays. Women have firm identities. They're about their rights, and they're about feminism and all this stuff, right? Not submitting to a man and all this stuff. Okay. Do relationships work like this? Where both parties are basically the same, right? Where there is no sort of acquiescing, there is no sort of sacrifice from one party or the other. Can you fall in love? Can you respect them? Can you fall in love and respect a man and want to do things for him, and want, if he asks you to do things, genuinely do them and want to do them. As a woman like this, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Do men just want too much control? Right? Do they just want? Do we have to check our own sort of? We just want slaves. We want to own women. We want them to just be ours. This sort of possession type thing. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how it works otherwise. Women asking men to do things for them. This is a thing where, if I think about a woman asking me to do something for her, my immediate thought is, if I do this, am I giving up sort of, is this the start of something? Am I letting something happen here? Is everything that she asked me to do, is it me giving up some sort of, setting a standard, setting a precedent that she can do this, right? It's from the initial jump too. It's from the very beginning of a relationship. That's why it's, I think the very beginning is paramount, because you're setting the precedent, you're setting the standard, what you will and will not tolerate. It kind of goes forward from there, but if a woman asks me to do something and I do it, I guess the thing is, yeah, I mean, I'll do it, but I'm asking, what am I signaling to her? Will she keep asking this? Does she think less of me now? Right? That's what I ask myself. Does she think less of me? Does she think that does she have less respect for me? Does she have less love for me? Am I lesser in her eyes because I said I'll do this? Or she asked me to do something and she sees that she can get me to do something now. Oh, look at this guy. I can get him to do something. I asked him to do something. Maybe I can continue to do this. How far do I let this go? And another thing that I think when a woman ever asks me to do something is, does this thing actually have to be done? Right? Do I see the point in doing this? Do I see the sense in doing this? Right? Little women tend to have, there was this. I used to live with a chick, and this was right after I got out of the Navy, and we had lived with each other for maybe a year. And she was a property manager of this apartment complex, and I was nothing, dude. I had no money. She was giving me discounted rent, super discounted rent. I was working as a part-time server, and she was far and away like the breadwinner. And we had developed some sort of, at the very end of this year, for like a month or so, we got romantically involved. It wasn't ideal. I actually wasn't really too happy with how she looked, but anyway, she was a bigger girl. But, she was, obviously she made her own money and she was very dominant. She had this very set personality and set identity and all this stuff, right? And we were going to go to a baseball game with a couple friends, and she was getting ready, and I was just sitting on the couch, or I was just like standing there. She was like, "Hey, can you go down and tell them something?" Right? It was, can you get them from the street and sort of bring them into the parking garage, like show them where the parking garage is, or go down there and tell them, like, let them up, or go down there and tell them I'll be down there, or something like that. It was something where it was just kind of like it was something where I didn't understand why we were doing this, because I can just text him, or you can text him and say, yeah, we'll be down. I don't see what the point is of me just going down there. So I didn't do anything, right? She told me to do something and I just didn't do it. At the time, I was just doing it because I don't think I had actually thought like that, but I was just doing it because I was trying to be like an alpha and just show her that I didn't have to do what she told me to do. And she came out and she was like, what are you doing here? Like, why didn't you? She came out of her room and she was like, what are you doing here? You didn't go down? And I was like, no, it's fine. And she was like kind of like upset about it. She was like, as if, I should have gone down, right? She clearly saw some point in doing that. I didn't see any point in doing it. But it seems like there's a lot of these things where women tell you to do things, and there are things that don't make sense to you. But yet, a woman wouldn't be saying them if it didn't make sense to her. We can't just assume that women tell men to do things just to see if they can control them. Like, that's not. It's just, you're not.
Suppress.
That would be assuming literally the worst of women. Like, oh, they only tell us to do things as a way to see if they can get control over us. They might actually see a point in doing it. And yeah, you might not see a point, right? You don't see the point of it. But a woman sees the point of it. I don't know. I guess it's all relationships are this thing of like who is willing to bend, right? Who is willing to bend, who's willing to break, who wants to be in a relationship more than they want to structure the relationship, who is just more into the person, right? They're more obsessed with the person, or they're more concerned with just making this relationship work for whatever reason, right? Whether maybe it's for a material sense, or status sense, or cultural pressure, or maybe it's they don't want to be alone, or maybe it is just genuine like admiration and obsession, or putting this person on a pedestal, or seeing them as greater than they really are type person, right? Maybe it is this sort of dream of love, but whatever it is, there's going to be a person. I think love is, or relationships are built on one of the two parties, whether it's man or woman, having less of a sense of identity, and they have by having less of a sense of identity, they have less boundaries, right? They can't stand on a certain line and be like, don't cross this. They're more willing to bend, they're more willing to break because of whatever the reasons I just mentioned previously. For whatever those reasons are, whatever it is, they are they're more willing to bend and acquiesce and whatever. And the other person is more obstinate, right? They're more set in themselves. They care more about how the relationship looks and how it's structured. They care more about their own sense of control or peace or just the way that it all functions. The operations, right? They care more about the operational aspect of this relationship than than just being in this relationship and just being with this person. It seems like all relationships have this sort of dynamic, and there is no real I don't know if 50-50s really work all that well. Where if two parties are very obstinate and very set in their identities and in their ways, it's tough to see how that lasts, or how there's any sort of I don't know. Again, I'm just talking about this all from a theoretical point of view. I really have a real experience. In fact, I've never dated a woman and lived there. Never officially dated any woman, been with a girlfriend and lived with her. I did live with that chick, but for only a month we were romantically involved, and then we were no longer living with each other. But yeah. Anyway, it's just interesting. I really only have questions that don't really have answers to these things. Yeah. I think, maybe it is more a man's way of. It seems like women want to be in love, right? It seems like if any party should be in love, if love is a sort of fantasy, if it is an illusion, if it is sort of make-believe.
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know if you're going to meet this person again, or if you're never going to meet this person, and you want to know when it will be. Going by your cards, it does seem like you will end up meeting them again. By the middle card, it also indicates that both of you have a lot of good chemistry together. As far as the timing, I would expect it to occur during October, represented by the 10 of Cups. Now, if you would want extra details as far as your compatibility with this person, you can give me both you and this person's birthday, and I can lay it out for you in a call, or you can just send me a message.
Have a lot of control and leverage over you. He would be able to say,
Before you try drastic measures, try new Olay Regenerist, upgraded with triple collagen peptides to strengthen cellular bonds from within. For firmer, lifted, more radiant skin. Only Olay.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. America's #1 trusted paper towel.
Every purchase brings you close to the magic. With more unforgettable Disney experiences. Elevate the magic. Elevate the memories. Introducing the new Disney Inspire Visa card.
Tell me why.
You already know how it ends. He could change your life in a lot of ways. You would make a lot of concessions, a lot of sacrifices to your own sort of whatever you got going on right now.
What?
That would be 100%
No.
the thing. 100%. So women, it's kind of this question of, and men, it's what do you want? Do you want to be in love? If you want to be in love, I think by definition, if you want to be in love, you have to sacrifice your identity, you have to sacrifice who you are. And to the extent that you want to be in love, I think the more in love you want to be, the more you have to sacrifice. I think the more you have to just like completely obliterate yourself. But it's not an obliteration in a way. You feel for the feeling that you get, right? Is the obliteration of your identity worth this amazing sort of feeling that you'll get for being in love with this man and just obsessing and admiring him and respecting him and all this stuff. Yeah, I think these things can go a little too far. This is where we get like the crazy girlfriends and crazy boyfriends, and they do crazy stuff and they develop.
What?
It can get unhealthy, I think. But it can also be healthy. But I think, but if any party is suited more to, I guess this is my only takeaway is like, if any party is suited towards falling in love, it seems like that they're more about fantasy, they're more about, they are very, they tend to really struggle with reality, right? They don't like reality. They don't like the cold hard truth. They like things to be nice and pampered and sugar coated, and everything's great. It's all, we're all saying positive things. Even though we know all on the surface, we all operate by the same motives and drives. But women, they put on this sort of show, and they want to live in this sort of illusion. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Women are that's just their nature. Right? But if any party is suited towards the operational side of relationships, it seems like it would be them.
Oh my god.
Because we
So funny.
cared, actually, what you more care about. As young boys, we tend to think, I just want to be in love with a woman. But you end up, as you grow up, you realize what that sacrifice is, what being in love with a woman actually means. It means sacrificing your identity. It means submitting to her. It means her having sway and control over you. And as men realize this, I think men really don't like this. I think it's more important to them to have control and sort of dominion, and if that sounds bad, it has a negative connotation, but men have to feel like their relationship is functioning and operating in a way that they want it to, that they have a sort of sense of, it really is all about control over the woman. That really is what it is. It really is what it is. We tend to see control of a woman submitting and losing her identity as like the ultimate sacrifice, right? We see that as like, damn, she loves me. And we love that. We love seeing a woman like completely obliterate her identity to service us. Something like that is very, it sounds bad from a woman's point of view. I get what that sounds. And if you don't want to do that, like that's cool. That's like your prerogative. But men see that and we're like, we see how much of a sacrifice it is, because it is a sacrifice. And if you do it willingly and you do it with no resentment or contempt, you do it completely out of love and adoration. And we can see that. well, then it's like, I mean, that woman has more power than she realizes. You know, she has more power over us than anyone alive. That woman is everything. But yeah, every man has to feel desired like that, at least from, you know, a woman who's that he desires. You know, but yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's my room.
Yeah, it's next to mine. And watch.
Can it be blue?
Yeah.
And Tommy's bed can go right there?
Here?
Yes. Cool.
And look, here's the yard.
Oh, we could have a trampoline.
Still no.
Oh no, what about your garden?
Oh, we'll play it together. Just like before.
So it'll be like an old house?
It'll be whatever we want it to be.
So it's going to come down to this. Can they do it?
Oh no, they missed it! Wait a minute! There's a flag on the play! Open the fucking door! You can't leave me out here! Please! I'll make the choice. Fuck you! Fuck you! It's me, please!
You fucking alien.
Out here, please!
The question is, what are you going to do about it?
Are ad hoc reporting requests slowing everyone down and eating up your data team's time? Are your teams struggling to turn insights into action? You need Adverity Intelligence. Adverity Intelligence is where data becomes action, giving marketers, analysts, and decision makers instant access to trusted insights without the bottlenecks. Just ask a question, get an answer, and follow up instantly. Transform insights from your data into lasting, organized narratives your whole team can build on. Capture requirements and set up intelligent agents to automate specific downstream use cases like MMM. Empower your marketing and BI teams to self-serve confidently freeing up your data scientists to focus on more impactful work. Foster a truly data-driven culture where decisions are powered by explainable, trustworthy insights, where the time from question to answer is measured in seconds, not days. At Verity Intelligence, where data becomes action.
The whole point of society is built to overcome our biological instincts.
Warning. This video contains opinions not based in reality. This is not parody, and this is not a glitch in the Matrix. This is real life, and this is who we're fighting against in our battle for our civilization. Thank you, Jimmy the Giant, for letting me farm you for content. And I want to preface this by saying, I watched some of the stream that Jimmy did months ago after I made a video about him way back. I did this because I wanted to get a feel of what this guy was really about when not following the script. And what was my takeaway? Honestly, I think he's just ideologically lost. And in my humble opinion, he's not as smart or as nuanced as he thinks he is. But he does seem like a genuinely good guy that just wants to put what's best for his country and family first. So today, this is not personal, what I'm about to do. This is necessary. Today, we're turning into one of his recent videos about woke culture losing out to the recent right-wing ships. And I will be cutting quite a lot of it out to save time. But I want to be absolutely clear here. I'm not trying to reframe his views or put words in his mouth. Watch his whole video if you want to see exactly what I've edited out. But what I'm trying to do is directly respond with my honest thoughts while watching the video. Probably have a few chapters laid out because it is a bit of a slow burn at the start. But let's get into it with his initial premise that he lays out.
What was the idea, right? Cheer the good guy, boo the bad guy. But in the year of our Lord 2026, this dynamic has flipped from influencers all the way to politicians, celebrities, and slowly, even companies. It feels like being cruel is vogue.
He thinks the traditional storyline archetypes of celebrating the good guy over the bad guy, he thinks that's been flipped on his head in modern culture now. And he thinks it's now cool to support bad things because, for the sake of it, because they're bad. I think he literally sees the world through the lens of Star Wars, or in his example, through professional wrestling, which he outlines. Within the first 30 seconds, he's immediately exposed himself in not understanding nuance and a lack of putting himself in the perspective of the other side. He thinks that people who support the opposite of what he likes, they do so because they're bad and they want to appear evil for the sake of it. Or maybe he thinks people like me are also just so ideologically lost that we end up being evil by mistake.
Right, in the 70s, you have this journalist, and his name is Tom Wolfe, and he publishes an essay called Radical Chic, That Party at Lenny's. And his article is based on a real event, right? So, in this luxury apartment in Manhattan, the famous composer Leonard Bernstein and his wife hosted a fundraising party for the Black Panthers. And Tom Wolfe is invited, he's one of the guests, but instead of getting involved, hitting a doggy and chirping gal, instead he quietly sits back and judges everyone.
For example, there's that huge Black Panther there in the hallway, the one shaking hands with Felicia Bernstein herself, the one with the black leather coat and the dark glasses and the absolutely unbelievable afro.
Yeah, he described the fundraiser as just wealthy liberal elites sipping cocktails. Meanwhile, there was armed Black Panthers sat around awkwardly, kind of like just the decoration. Or at least that's how he portrayed it. And this is interesting, right? His critique wasn't really about the politics itself, but more so about what he saw as moral posturing from wealthy people. The critique he was making was that for the Bernsteins, there was no sacrifice required. And actually, if anything, they gained from it. They gained social status for looking radical.
There is some truth to this. We see a lot of celebrities like Gary Lineker or Billie Eilish, they signal against what they see as the rise of the far right, and only spotlights they live in this insular bubble that is completely detached from reality, and what they support would in turn destroy everything that they take for granted. There's another element that Jimmy's missing, and I won't dwell on. Why would the Bernsteins support anti-white, anti-Western, pro-communist, race-grifting organizations like the Black Panthers? Really makes you think.
Now, this critique can be very legitimate because it kind of captures the image that genuine, real political causes can be turned kind of into like an aesthetic and just performed, particularly by people it doesn't truly affect.
That's very true. It's the same when people change their profile pictures to reflect what flavor of propaganda spell that they're under. It's a meme that they receive, the NPCs, they get the new patch for the new thing because the previous old thing no one cares about that anymore because they've been told to care about something else.
But you see, there was an irony to what Tom was saying, because whilst Tom Wolfe is critiquing this, he kind of, de facto positions himself as the truth-telling, bold, brave man exposing liberal hypocrisy. The essay becomes famous. Tom profits massively from it. The term radical chic enters common parlance. Tom Wolfe's brand grows. Meanwhile, the Black Panthers fade into the background. The man that was pointing out the use of radical politics to gain social status, ironically became one of the most successful people to ever do exactly that.
I've not bothered to look into Tom Wolfe here, but just the premise here Jimmy's laid out. If you write a book or an article exposing something, it becomes popular with people because they have an appetite for what you have to say. Is Jimmy saying this guy is hypocritical for being successful for doing so? Is that a good point? Maybe this guy should just give away his books for free and get a real job, am I right? But anyway, to move on to the point that the elites, the celebrities and big businesses, they will take political movements or at least aspects of them for their own gain, like Starbucks or Amazon using the BLM or LGBT logos, and this just gives the impression that there's some sort of alliance with this political struggle as a means to give the illusion that they're on your side. But we all know, everyone, left and right, we all know this is just a way to signal to people who identify with these movements to maintain like a brand relevance and image. I mean, it's basic stuff, and Jimmy, I believe, outlines it fairly well here.
Then as time goes past and it increasingly seems inauthentic, someone will come along to critique it, a kind of truth teller. Usually also someone who might be of a wealthy, privileged background. They come along and they expose the hypocrisy. But structurally, it does the exact same thing. In both situations, attention strips away from the cause itself. First to performance, then to critique, until the original cause fades into the background.
Also, virtue signaling is a completely new thing, where you can publicly display your disdain for someone who steps outside the lines, and therefore you supposedly boost your social credit.
I really don't agree with this position here. Someone from a privileged background comes along to critique it, even if they are privileged, which I think from memory, Joe Rogan, I think he came from nothing. But these people like Rogan, they don't care that their critique of the virtue signaling is detracting from the quote-unquote original message. Because the original message of these, let's just be frank, radical left-wing stances, they're not supported by these voices who are critiquing them to begin with.
It's really worth being clear up front, right? Movements like Black Lives Matter, Me Too, trans rights, etc. These are real situations that affected real people who had genuine, real harm coming their way. And at its peak, they managed to generate major public support for these causes. They massively raised awareness and brought these topics into cultural consciousness. The problem wasn't with the causes themselves. The problem is what happened once those causes started to get absorbed into that mainstream, powerful institutional apparatus. God, that sounded smart.
This is the fundamental point why it's so hard to have a debate with people like this who are so far on the left while I'm fairly, far on the right. Because in my mind, these movements themselves are fundamentally wrong at their heart. The critiques of virtue signaling from companies and celebrities is just noticing hypocrisy for the most part. And I would add, from a right-wing view, there is far too much focus on the critiquing of the virtue signaling aspects, because that's just surface level, that's low-hanging fruit. It's rage-baiting people who already agree and to rile people up to say things like, look what the left is doing now. I can't believe Netflix is making this sort of propaganda. Did you see that new Bud Light commercial? That Super Bowl halftime show was just so woke. I don't even engage with this because it's just a waste of time. It's like, hey, my goy slop isn't red-pilled enough. It's like, yeah, no shit. If anything, overemphasis of rage-baiting people about virtue signaling only detracts from the real source of where issues are actually stemming from.
When you type in terms like BLM, Me Too, racism, transgender, and then a term like inequality, what you kind of see is there were major spikes in a lot of these topics that made them these massive, all-encompassing stories that dominated the media. Meanwhile, inequality, the one that affects everyone, is kind of backseated, right? It never breaks through. And in that moment,
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know, why did your current relationship fail? Looking at your cards, primarily from the initial card of Judgment. It represents a lot of things between the two of you that never reached a sense of closure. So I would say the primary problem that came up between the two of you was an inability to settle accounts when it came to arguments, disagreements, or any other normal relationship problems that came up. For the middle card, Ace of Pentacles does show a little bit of a problem regarding finances. Mainly, it seems to be one person seemed to feel inferior when it came to finances and not being able to provide the other person everything that they wanted. With the final card, Four of Wands, it's mostly signaling that there was a lack of both of you really being able to enjoy each other's company. What this mainly means is having time to just enjoy life with each other, whether it was parties, going out together, which I know it's hard to do in the current day and age, but it is very important to schedule out some time with your significant other to help maintain the bond. And if you want further information regarding what new options there are for you in the future in terms of relationship, as well as what would best suit you compatibility-wise, give me a call or send me a message. I won.
It's got nothing to do, in the words what Jimmy says, using the moment to critique institutions and the very nature of power. Because why would they argue through this lens if the movements themselves are reprehensible, anti-Western, anti-Christian, anti-white, just generally subversive? The movements themselves are wrong in the minds of those arguing against it. Trying to respond to this point is really forcing me to understand the angle which is coming from, because in my position, he just fails to see the foundational points.
Right, if you asked period of time any left-wing person to critique corporate woke washing, they would have been there with you. They would have said, yes, obviously, it's dumb, right? It's created the term rainbow capitalism basically to describe exactly that. It's always been against performative virtue. But what you have to bear in mind is that conversation really had. And it's because the media ecosystem of reactionary creators, they are very powerful and very well funded. Massive major networks, incredibly large sums of money went into controlling the narrative. I mean, look at this bubble chart here. It's for online shows. Now, some of these people do have huge funding networks like those affiliated with Daily Wire, PragerU, but most of these online spaces, they're not funded by anyone. I mean, Nick Fuentes, biggest streamer on Rumble, Devin Stack, biggest streamer on Odyssey. The majority of YouTube political content is all independent. People just making content that they want to make, and the audience, they want to watch it. All these people are popular because what they say and what they do, it resonates. And what about the mainstream media? BBC, Netflix, Amazon. These are companies that produce content with a huge left-wing bias, socially and politically, and obviously with huge budgets. It's almost as if that when there's no censorship, we get a true reflection of what people want and want to watch. And what we observe is not this pro-leftist propaganda. And just when I thought Jimmy said the worst possible take ever,
He kept talking. Understand this sort of us versus them dynamic. There's some really important psychology that is at play, and it explains why this sort of thing happens continuously throughout history. So as you're probably aware, humans, we're sociable creatures. Despite what the Sigma males will tell you, we love squadding up. For most of our evolutionary history, if you were part of a gang, you ate. If you weren't, you died. And that's because, for most of history, resources were scarce. So our brains developed the function of protecting our tribe. Tribalism. And there's a really important hormone, right, that's involved in this, and that is oxytocin. You might know it as that love hormone, that love juice. Basically, it's a bonding chemical. It's released when parents bond with children, when people fall in love, when you hit 99 woodcutting on RuneScape. But the thing about oxytocin, right, it doesn't just give you warmth and trust. In a series of experiments done by Dutch researchers, participants were given oxytocin and then asked to make moral decisions. One of the decisions was the classic moral dilemma. It's sometimes known as like the train track problem. You're presented with a choice. You have a train, it's traveling, it's going to hit some people. If you do nothing, multiple people will die, or you could choose to do something, killing one person and saving more people. But what these researchers did was give it a twist, right? They varied who was on the track. Sometimes it was someone from the participants' in-group. In this case, that was Dutch people. Sometimes it was from someone who was clearly marked as an out-group. Sometimes it was Germans, and other times it was Arabs. And the result showed something kind of disturbing. People were more willing to sacrifice the person who appeared as an outsider. I mean, wow. It's really disturbing stuff. Anyone who watches that and says to themselves, obviously, that you would sacrifice someone on the out-group, you need to take a look in the mirror. I think we all know where this argument is actually leading. Any and all in-group preference is now bad. Now, considering he just made the point that tribalism is key to survival, being in a tribe in its very nature is exclusive. Who's in the tribe, who's not in the tribe, who's on the periphery. And if you have to pick to save someone from your tribe over someone who isn't, then it should be the easiest choice ever. So why is it so terrifying for Jimmy to understand this? Please enlighten us.
And that is scary, right? Because if you were just to stop thinking and just stop your analysis right there, a person could claim, look, we're biologically racist. Maybe if it's just nature, why should we fight it? And that is exactly where far-right and fascist ideology comes from.